Bad pH levels can completely ruin your grow, but there's a super simple solution. Let's talk about how to get your cannabis plants thriving again. But before we do, let's give a quick shout out to this video's sponsor, AC Infinity. If you're an indoor grower and you're looking for the highest quality grow gear out there, you got to check out acinfinity.com. Their tents, fans, grow controllers give you total control over your grow environment, so you can dial things in exactly how you want them and grow stress-free. Go check out all the grow gear at acinfinity.com and use coupon code DUDEGROWS for a great deal. That's acinfinity.com, coupon code DUDEGROWS. All right, let's get back to learning some grow. All right, let's talk about why pH matters, what impacts it, then our simple solution at the end, Scotty, because it's almost too easy. But man, let's hop into this. pH is important.
Absolutely. It affects the plant's ability to uptake nutrients. You can have all the nutrients you want in that soil. Unless the pH is right, your plants aren't going to be able to uptake it. It's called nutrient. I guess that would be nutrient lockout. I call it pH lockout, actually.
I want to see a chart. Do we have a chart?
We got a chart.
Dude, this is cool, though. These charts, you can find, there's a bunch of these on Google. And this one's cool. Take a look at the yellow bars right there. That is where all the nutrients have a fat absorption point. Like you can see, look at phosphorus right there, man. If you go too low, if you go at 5.5, or 5.0, you're going to miss out on the plant's ability to uptake a lot of phosphorus. Shoot, at 5.0, you're missing the plant's ability to take a lot of nutrients up, huh?
Yeah, same. Magnesium, super important. Getting below 6 in pH, it starts to definitely, dive down in its availability. If you're in a straight hydroponics water culture situation, these numbers are going to be a little lower for you as well. But it is definitely maintaining that sweet spot. And you'll notice you can't swing out of the sweet spot 6 to 7. It's not going to completely kill you, but if you stay there for a while, you'll start to notice deficiencies.
Yeah, it's outside the range of your plants can absorb nutrients. We've only got, 60 days of flower, maybe 30 days of veg. Man, the idea with these is to keep them growing strong and never let them slow down.
I like it. Let's get into what impacts pH, man. What makes pH change?
That chart is interesting because that's for soil, right? Yeah, cannabis in soil. Soil has some buffering capabilities. There might be some microbes in there to buffer your pH. Hydro does not. And I'm not talking cocoa. I'm talking specific hydro, like deep water culture, where there is no buffer.
Definitely a good point. You're going to have lower values there. And let's quickly hit what you need. And testing your pH, good to know your starting point. Simple test kit. There's a little, Graham will throw it up, little shaker test kit you can get that are super cheap. This guy right here, for knowing your water off the tap or where you're getting your water. This test kit won't work if you have a really murky nutrient solution, but it'll let you know your starting point of neutrals kind of good. I feel a lot of nutrients that you add are designed to bring you down to the proper pH range from a neutral 7 pH. There's also pens, of course. You can get those anywhere from probably $50 to $150, depending on the quality. Those are kind of pain in the butt for me, and we'll talk about it. I mean, gotta maintain those. We'll talk about that in our easy solution. I also like to have on hand, though. I just get pH tape. It's like a whole roll. It's super cheap. It's just you tear off a piece, you stick it in whatever solution. So good things to have on hand, even if you have a pen to cross-reference. All right, let's talk about what impacts pH. What are the different variables here?
All right, man. Well, we should start with the water.
Yeah, that's huge. I've seen some tap levels that were kind of scary. I just mentioned, a neutral starting point's nice. 7 is good. I think a lot of municipalities aim for that for drinking water. I don't know.
Right.
Fort Collins, I'm just thinking you're right around 7. They obviously don't want your water to be acidic or very alkaline. That'd be a problem.
Yeah, and you mentioned water. We also should consider the media, what the water is being poured onto, because you've got things. I'm thinking I'm a cocoa grower. I got to worry about residual salts being in there. I've got to worry about calcium and magnesium lockout. All those things are going to mess with the pH.
Soil's pretty nice because it's usually living. Soil comes with microbes, whether you're inoculating them or not. It's a little more forgiving, has a little bit more buffering capability. So that's going to be a bit easier. You mentioned cocoa. It's like, man, we go back and forth. It's 2024. Go buy yourself a bag of Canna. You're good to go from the start. But there are people still that want to buy the cheap cocoa or sourced cocoa for Amazon or wherever. And you got to be careful with that, right?
Yeah, that will definitely mess with your pH. I play with a bunch of different cocos, and there's a huge difference. Salts are going to lower your pH. Calcium and magnesium lockout are going to lower your pH. So yeah, improper cocoa. Yeah, it could definitely be a problem. Nutrients. Think about nutrients. We talk about like phosphorus is dissolved into an acid to make it liquid. It's phosphorus rock. This is dissolved into an acid. That's going to lower your pH, man.
Yeah, that's 100%. You want to actually, every time you're mixing a nutrient line, typical way to do this is, and I've sold hundreds of pH meters when I was working at a grocery store. You mix up your nutrients. You want to measure a final pH, and it's like sometimes it would be perfect. You really love that as a grower. If you mixed your 6 bottles together and at the end your pH was 6.1, whatever you needed, you're ready to go. If it was too high or too low, you'd add pH up or pH down, stir the solution, wait some time, remeasure it. Hopefully you hit your right set point. And if you didn't, then you're like, oh, shiz, I went over. Now I got to go down. Can be a pain in the butt, or actually it is. I think it is a pain in the butt. You're making that face, Scotty.
I've grown 60,000 bamboo plants this year. Could you imagine if that was the way that I had to grow them? That's not the way that people grow. They build their soil correctly. They build it with a bunch of pH buffers or the right pH buffers. And then they use the right amount of fertilizer and controlled release fertilizer in my case. And it's not, what did they say? It's not chess, it's checkers. Thank you.
A lot of times people get in the swing of things where they know if their starting water is this, they add their liquid nutrients if that's what you're using, and they know even without testing consistently, they're always hitting a 6.1 or 6.2. Yeah, I recommend always checking because municipal water supplies can change, different things can happen. You should always be just checking that if you're watering into completely inert media, not using microbes.
Yeah, and I got to stop because reverse osmosis water, how many folks that are just in areas where they're using well water with a bunch of impurities, or they've just got bad water and they're using reverse osmosis, that is pure water. So when you put pH up or pH down in there, there is nothing to buffer it. There is not even that 70 parts per million of dissolved solids. There's nothing. So it will swing so fast. So you've got to be super careful about trying to change the pH of reverse osmosis or distilled water.
I remember, probably because they were somewhat shady at times, Advanced Nutrients came out with the strongest pH up and down there was. Be like, dude, if you get any on your hand, it's bad news. Like, nobody else had anything that strong, probably because the legal team was like, nope. But man, I don't use any of it anymore. Let's get into our solution here. The number one solution, I don't use pH pens anymore. I don't use any of the jazz. I use soil microbes. I use Recharge. If you are inoculated with microbes, man, they do work for you. And it is so nice to see just not have to, and people taking care of your grow. Telling somebody that doesn't know how to pH up and down can be a nightmare for somebody. Just knowing the microbes are doing the work for you, like in nature.
And the pH of your bulk soil does not matter. What matters is the pH where the soil meets the root tip, where that nutrient absorption is happening. And if you've got that root tip colonized, if you got that rhizosphere colonized with bacteria or fungi that rely on getting that nutrient into the plant, because they rely on the exudates of that plant, they're able to buffer the pH and they're able to allow the pH to be the plant to absorb nutrients at the proper pH, but it happens at the root zone. That's where your runoff isn't going to help you all that much.
Tip here, if you're using, let's say you're inoculating with Recharge or soluble powder of microbes, you're making your own compost tea, you're using some other product. If you're inoculating with microbes, don't pH up and down that before watering it in. Just get the microbes in there. Do not worry about the pH of solution. I've heard people worry a bit too much. Those are living organisms. You just want to get them in your rhizosphere. You don't want to be adding up and down or just do any of that.
And you mentioned rhizosphere. Rhizosphere is that 1/20th of an inch where the roots meet the soil. That is where all the exchange is happening, that's where all the action is happening. That's where your pH has to be spot on. And thankfully, I got microbes doing that work for me.
And it's so much easier. Yeah, can't say that enough. That's the number one tip. Don't throw away. I want to be like, throw away your pH meter. But man, I've spent a lot of money on a lot of pH meters, and if they aren't properly maintained, they're not accurate. And then I've seen growers struggle where they thought their pH meter was accurate because they weren't doing the constant calibration that they need, and then they're watering in at pHs and getting pH lockout due to equipment failure. So it's pain in the butt. Let nature do the work for you.
Yeah, I like it. let recharge do the work for you.
Those are our tips on managing pH. Tell us what you guys do. Leave us some comments below. How do you maintain pH in your grow? Do you maintain pH at all, or you just do some microbes? Let us know below in the comments.
All right. And if you dug this video, please hit that like button. Smash that subscribe button. Talk about this video with another grower you know. And check out the other couple videos YouTube's recommending. I think you'll dig them.